When we talk about Saint Jude Thaddeus, what comes to mind for many are extraordinary miracles. But what almost no one mentions is how he became the last hope for those who had already given up. Saint Jude is the saint of impossible causes, and the curious thing is that his life was marked by challenges as great as those who trust in him. Perhaps you've heard of his powerful intercession, but do you know why he is considered the saint of lost causes? There is something special about the faith he inspires, something that transcends the simple act of praying. It's the certainty that, even when everything seems lost, there is still a light. And what if I told you that this same faith can be applied to your life, right now? The secret lies in understanding how Saint Jude turned the impossible into hope. Who was Saint Jude Thaddeus? Saint Jude Thaddeus, one of the most intriguing figures in Christianity, was chosen by Jesus to be one of the 12 apostles. He wasn't just any follower. He was also related to Jesus, known as his cousin. Often, the name Judas causes confusion with Judas Iscariot, the one who betrayed Christ. But Saint Jude Thaddeus is quite different. He is remembered for his unwavering faith and dedication to the gospel, even when everything seemed lost. This reminds us how appearances can be deceiving and how we must be careful not to judge before understanding the full story. After Christ's resurrection, Saint Jude Thaddeus embarked on a journey of evangelization around the world. He had a clear mission: to spread the message of Jesus to the most remote places, and that's exactly what he did. He preached in regions such as Judea, Samaria, and even Libya. Imagine how challenging it was to travel through these territories at that time. Without today's resources, the faith he had was the fuel that moved him, something that still inspires many today. Like him, we are sometimes called to step out of our comfort zones to fulfill our own mission. Another important point about Saint Jude is his name, which often causes confusion. But it's essential to remember that he is an example of faith, not betrayal. His life teaches us to look beyond misunderstandings that may arise and to value people's true character. Many have faced misunderstandings like he did, and this kind of wisdom is what we need to learn to act with justice and compassion, always giving a second chance to those who might be judged wrongly. Mission and evangelization. After the ascension of Jesus, Saint Jude Thaddeus took upon himself the responsibility of spreading the word of God, bringing the gospel to unknown and dangerous regions. He traveled through places such as Judea, Samaria, Idumea, Syria, Mesopotamia, and Libya. These missionary journeys were not only a demonstration of his faith, but also an example of courage and commitment. Today, many of us face challenges in trying to share our values and beliefs. Saint Jude's story reminds us that with determination and faith, we can overcome the obstacles that arise in our path. One of Saint Jude's greatest legacies is his epistle, one of the books of the New Testament. Although it is a brief text, it carries a powerful message against apostasy and corruption. He exhorts the faithful to remain steadfast in their faith, something that remains extremely relevant even today. Imagine the impact these words had on those who heard his sermons in a world where Christianity was still taking root. In the same way, we can apply this teaching to our lives, resisting the temptation to give up or stray, even in the face of the greatest adversities. When thinking about Saint Jude's mission, we can ask ourselves how we are conveying our own message to the world. Perhaps we're not preaching from city to city, but each of us has a unique opportunity to influence and inspire those around us. Whether with words, actions, or examples, we can, like Saint Jude, be beacons of light amidst the darkness that surrounds us. And just as he did, we must remember that the impact of our actions can resonate far beyond what we imagine. Miracles and intercession. Saint Jude Thaddeus is widely known as the saint of impossible causes, a figure many turn to in moments of despair. During his life, various miracles were attributed to him, clear signs that his faith and connection with the divine went beyond the ordinary. This title of intercessor of desperate causes comes from his ability to offer hope when all doors seem closed. It's inspiring to think that, just like those who ask for Saint Jude's intercession, we too can find the strength to overcome adversities, even when circumstances seem insurmountable. Devotion to Saint Jude Thaddeus quickly spread after his death, with numerous reports of miracles attributed to his intercession. Many people share stories of miraculous healings, resolutions of complex problems, or changes in situations considered hopeless. And if we stop to reflect, it reminds us that in our own lives, we also face situations that seem to have no way out. Devotion to Saint Jude is a way of keeping the flame of faith alive, believing that no matter how impossible it seems, there is always a solution. Saint Jude continues to be a source of comfort and hope for millions around the world. And it's not just about the miracles themselves, but about what they represent. The idea that we are not alone, even in the most difficult moments. When everything seems lost, Saint Jude teaches us that it is possible to achieve the unreachable, as long as we trust and persevere. This message of hope is what makes his devotion so strong and present to this day. Martyrdom and death. Saint Jude Thaddeus, like many of the apostles, faced severe persecution because of his unwavering faith. Historical accounts indicate that he was martyred around 70 AD, possibly in Persia, where his preaching met with violent resistance. Even in the face of the threat of death, he did not retreat. The courage he displayed reminds us that sometimes the price of maintaining our faith or convictions can be high. Today, although we may not face martyrdom, we are constantly challenged to stand up for what we believe in, even in difficult situations. Saint Jude Thaddeus's martyrdom is marked by significant brutality. He is said to have been killed by blows from an axe, which explains why many depictions show him holding this tool, a symbol of his sacrifice. It is interesting to note how the lives of saints are often portrayed with these visual symbols, allowing us to connect the physical suffering to the spiritual greatness. So, when we see an image of Saint Jude with the axe, we are led to reflect on the sacrifices we are willing to make in the name of our faith or principles. Even with his tragic death, Saint Jude's legacy continued to grow. His martyrdom was not in vain. On the contrary, it served as a testimony to his devotion to Christ and the transformative power of faith. And this is something that makes us think about the impact our actions can have. Like Saint Jude, we may not be able to see the immediate fruits of our sacrifices, but what we do can resonate in unimaginable ways in the future. Popular devotion and festivity. Devotion to Saint Jude Thaddeus has a long history, growing significantly over the centuries, especially in Latin American regions and parts of Europe. What makes this devotion so special is the direct connection people feel with him, especially in moments of despair. He is known as the saint of impossible causes, the one people turn to when everything seems lost. This has created a strong base of followers who keep this tradition alive in churches, shrines, and festivities, all united by their unshakable faith. If you've ever found yourself in a tough situation, you probably know the relief that this devotion can bring. On October 28th, his liturgical feast is celebrated with great fervor, especially in places where the devotion is most intense. For many people, this is a time of spiritual renewal and an opportunity to give thanks for the intercessions achieved. The events often include processions, solemn masses, and in some places, large community festivals. It is not uncommon to see devotees carrying images of Saint Jude Thaddeus through the streets, demonstrating their faith and hope. And if you've never participated in one of these celebrations, it's worth considering. It's a moment of unity where you not only connect with the saint, but also with a community that shares your beliefs. The popularity of Saint Jude Thaddeus grew exponentially because of his intercession in times of distress. People believe he has a special power to help in causes that seem unsolvable. This belief spread not only in churches but also in small shrines that appear in the most unexpected places, from remote villages to large urban centers. Have you heard of someone keeping an image of Saint Jude in their car or at work? This shows how devotion goes beyond the walls of churches and touches the daily lives of many. And so, little by little, his figure gains space in every detail of the everyday life of those who need a miracle. Iconography and symbolism. The iconography of Saint Jude Thaddeus is full of symbols that carry deep meanings about his life and his closeness to Christ. The image of Jesus on his chest, for example, highlights the importance he had as an apostle and messenger of the Word of God. This detail is not just aesthetic. It's a way of showing his spiritual intimacy with Jesus. When you look at these images, you can feel the connection he had with Christ, something that goes beyond mere visual representation, evoking his total dedication to faith and divine service. Another striking symbol is the staff, which represents Saint Jude Thaddeus's preaching journey. The staff is the emblem of an apostle in motion, one who walked from city to spread the gospel. In addition, the axe he carries symbolizes the martyrdom he suffered for his faith. Saint Jude was killed because of his devotion, and these symbols are reminders of his courage and determination to continue preaching the truth, even under threat. It's as if each image of Saint Jude Thaddeus tells us a story of sacrifice and persistence, something we can reflect on in our own lives when we face challenges to uphold our principles. Conclusion. Now that you know more about Saint Jude Thaddeus, the big question is, how will you apply this knowledge? Are you ready to entrust your most difficult causes to him, as so many others have done? Maybe you're wondering, does this really work? The answer isn't just in believing, but in acting. Saint Jude's example shows us that faith and courage go hand in hand. And you? Are you willing to take that first step toward change? How about starting now, reflecting on those areas of your life that seem unsolvable? And remember, nothing is impossible when you place your trust in something greater. If you enjoyed this content and want to continue learning more about how faith and saints can transform lives, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss any teachings that can help you grow and find new perspectives. We're together on this journey of transformation,